Fil-Am History Month. Yay! Mabuhay! First of all, it's not heritage, okay? It is Fil-Am History, not Fil-Am Heritage. Although heritage is a good word because it talks about culture, this month is about the history of the Filipinos in the U.S. Okay, because a lot of people are confused. Anyway, my name is Arnold. I'd like to introduce myself and my lovely co-host or co-MC. Para nasa TV na co-host. So I'm Arnold Pedregal. I work in the county of Santa Clara since 2017 in the IT industry, IT department. And how about you?
All right. Hi. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Angela Roberts. I'm the Communications Director for County Board Supervisor Otto Lee of District 3. We represent Sunnyvale, Milpitas, and the North San Jose neighborhoods of Berryessa and Alviso. We're really excited to partner with Arnold and everybody, at the Santa Clara County Fil-Am Employees Group, just because this is a really special month for us to recognize the rich history, the culture, and all of the important contributions of Filipino Americans and just the wonderful achievements that this community will continue to make.
Yeah, in today's event is, as you know, it's a collaboration of many organizations. As you can see here, we have about 9 community organizations around the Santa Clara County. Maraming salamat guys for, let's give them a round of applause please. And also, of course, our internal county agencies, we are joined today by 4 of them, and they're outside. They're ready to provide service to all of us. So later on, we will hear more from them, like what do they do, what's their mission, and all that. But I'm very happy to collaborate with you. So thank you. Before we go on, let's have some fun first. Fun facts. Whoever wins this, there will be a prize from Supervisor Otto for $1,000. Oops. Uh-oh.
It's only invisible. That's the fine print.
Yeah, so I have a few questions, just 3 questions. Next. Okay, when was the arrival of the first Filipinos in the U.S. and where did they land? Go for it.
October 18, 1587 in Morro Bay.
Oh my God, are you a professor of history? He's a professor. You're not counted, but thank you. No, I know Manong Mark. Manong Mark is one of the pillars of the Filipino community in San Jose. You will hear more from Manong Mark shortly. So yeah, October was chosen to commemorate the arrival of the first Filipinos who landed in what is now known as the Morro Bay. Who has been to Morro Bay? Wow, almost everyone. You haven't been to Morro Bay? It's 1 hour. How many? 2 hours ride, no?
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, next question.
Okay, so as of the latest census, what is the population of Filipinos in the U.S.? Which metropolitan area has the largest Filipino population? Any guesses?
Any guess? Latest census means that's 2019 or 2020. Because
Well,
they do it every 10 years.
Looks like we've stumped the audience, so let's go ahead and take a look at the answer. So
All right.
4.2 million, including U.S. and foreign-born Filipinos. L.A., believe it or not, has the highest number of Filipinos here in the U.S. Does anybody here have relatives that live in L.A., in the area? Yeah.
Do you know where San Francisco Bay Area comes in as in the rank? Any guess how many people in San Francisco? Filipinos? Oh my God. Mali. Okay, so this is as of 2019, but as you can see, San Jose is number 10. So New York, Honolulu, Hawaii, San Diego, Las Vegas, Chicago. Wow, Riverside is in top 10. And then Seattle. Where's Alaska? I thought Alaska is here. Okay, last question. Okay, when did the U.S. Congress designate October as Filipino American History Month? 2019. Wrong. Any guess? $1,000 from Otto Lee, Supervisor Lee. All right, okay, go ahead. What's the answer? 2009. But in 1992, you know how the Fil-Am History Month came about? In 1992, there's a couple named Cordova. Is that right, Professor?
Fred Cordova and Dorothy Cordova.
There you go. So they're from Seattle, and then they started Fil-Am National Historical Society. In fact, Mark is one of the board of directors of the society in Silicon Valley chapter. Core member, yeah. So if any one of you wanted to join, feel free to do so. And what they do is they promote the the culture of the Filipinos. Sorry, go ahead.
Alrighty. Well, before we continue on, I want us to all, or we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land we are on. We recognize that we are on the traditional territory of the Mukwima Ohlone tribe, so let's honor their history and contributions.
Okay, to formally begin the event, let's be a little bit more formal by having the national anthem. If you could, may we call on Ms. Jocelyn Licudo. Jos is one of the nurses in a clinical nurse in Santa Clara Valley Medical. So she will start first with U.S. national anthem and then followed by the Lupang Hinirang. So let's all stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Yay! Thank you. I always get goosebumps whenever I hear the Lupang Hinirang. Thank you.
We want to especially thank the Santa Clara County Fil-Am employees group for all of their hard work in putting this event together. So if you're a member, please stand up and let's give them all a big round of applause. Stand up if you're an employee. They made today happen.
All right. Thank you. Again, welcome. My name is Arnold Pedregal. In 2019, when I joined, I joined the county in 2017. I realized there wasn't any Filipino, groups in the county. So in 2019, I decided to create a distribution list. Just email. And then out of that, there were about 5 people. Those founding members are here: Edwin, Emmy, Ray, Sheila, and Mary Ann. Anyway, on behalf of the Filipino American Employees Group, we'd like to welcome you all to this event because this is very fitting to the occasion, But before anything else, I'd really like to take this opportunity to thank Supervisor Otto Lee's, office. Supervisor Otto Lee is one of the Board of Supervisors. He's in District 3. He's very active in the community and he's very, especially in the Filipino community. So he's not here today, but I'm sure, he will appreciate. We all appreciate all the gestures, and especially I'd like to give a special shout out. Well, she's not here right now, but she knows I'm gonna thank her. But anyway, thank you. Okay. Anyway, so talking about the group, just very briefly. There's about, we don't know exactly how many Filipinos in the county, but the group itself is about 220. And from the social, activities that we have, now we've grown into a more formal, I would say more formal group in the sense that we now have more advocacies. One of our founders, Edwin Toralba here, he introduced us to help one of the Kite Foundation, one of the foundations in the Philippines. So thank you, Edwin, for bringing that. So, and apart from those, we also have other activities to help promote the Filipino culture within the county. So we wanted to promote the culture amongst the diversity groups in the county. So that's really the objective and the goal of the Fil-Am community, Fil-Am employees group, is to help the county in its diversity efforts. Now, let me revert back to what I was saying earlier. Now that Supervisor Lee is here, I did mention to them that this event would not have happened without the partnership with your group. So, from the bottom of our hearts, on behalf of the Fil-Am community, thank you so much. Thank you. And of course, our fellow member, who is also the Chief of Staff of Supervisor Lee, Wendy Ho. Give it up for Wendy. Thank you so much, Wendy. And Wendy has been very helpful since many, a few years back. So thank you so much. And again, let me repeat my shout out to, of course, Angela Roberts. And the two of us have been planning this for many weeks, and she's very organized. She's the communications director, and Tevu is not here. Oh, Tevu, thank you so much. He took care of the AV, audiovisual, and all that. So thank you so much. So I won't make my speech long. I just wanted to thank them, and I just wanted to say, and of course, thank you to our speakers, Gloria, Sheila, and Dr. Liza. By the way, one of our speakers, unfortunately, couldn't make it because she caught COVID. She had COVID. So her name is Gina Alcomendra. She's our clerk recorder of the county. She has also a very good, inspiring story, but we wish her well, and hopefully she'll join us next year. So again, maraming pong salamat. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the occasion.
Thank you, Arnold, for your remark. And as a sponsor of this event, we at the Office of County Supervisor Otto Lee, we're proud to stand in solidarity and in support of this important group. And again, just a big thank you to the organizational partners who are here with us today. We'll hear more from our organization partners in a bit, but now we have a very special guest. We'd like to introduce Adrian Baquet, who is the Vice Consul from the Office of the Philippines San Francisco Consul General. Vice Consul Baquet was previously Third Secretary, Vice Consul, and Acting Administrative Officer at the Philippine Embassy in Kuwait and the Principal Assistant at the Department of Foreign Affairs Office of Public Diplomacy. Now let's give him a big round of applause as he shares some remarks.
Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, mga kababayan, magandang hapon, good afternoon. Mabuhay! On behalf of Philippine Consul General Neil Ferrer and my colleagues at the Philippine Consulate General in San Francisco, I'm honored to join you in the Filipino American History Month celebration of the Filipino American Employees Group of Santa Clara County. And at the outset, I'd like to express my gratitude to Supervisor Otto Lee and to the entire Santa Clara Board of Supervisors, not only for hosting us this afternoon, but for the proclamation issued declaring October as Filipino American History Month in Santa Clara County. Maraming salamat po. Today, I won't delve too much on Filipino American history. I do not claim to be an expert on the field. Filipino American history is also not being taught in Philippine schools, unfortunately, and take it from me, I graduated from UP. Mention Larry Itliong and Delano Manongs to a random person in the Philippines, and you will receive only a shrug or a head shake. Though you can name drop Bruno Mars or Olivia Rodrigo, and they'll get it. What I wish to talk about is how Filipino-American history is viewed by a so-called mainlander, born, raised, and educated in the Philippines, such as myself. I believe that it is important to celebrate Filipino-American History Month to highlight the contributions of overseas Filipinos and Filipino-Americans to nation-building efforts in the Philippines. We recognize the hard work of our 4.3 million Filipinos and Filipino-Americans in the United States, who in 2023 injected almost $14 billion to the Philippine economy in cash remittances, making the United States the Philippines' single biggest source of remittances. We laud the Filipinos and Filipino-Americans in Silicon Valley who are active partners in Philippine development, sharing their expertise, experience, and resources with emerging Filipino startups, entrepreneurs, and innovators. We take pride in the achievements of young Filipino-Americans, including Santa Clara County's very own Jared Hatch of Morgan Hill and Emma Malabuyo of Mountain View and Milpitas, who competed under Team Philippines at the Paris 2024 Summer Olympics. We commend the efforts of Filipino American communities to create direct people-to-people linkages and exchanges through sister city cooperation, including San Francisco, sister city of the Philippine capital of Manila for the last 63 years, Palo Alto, sister city of Palo Leyte for 61 years, Salinas, sister city of Cebu City for 60 years, San Leandro, sister city of Naga, Camarines Sur for 35 years, Union City, sister city of Pasay, also for 35 years, Vallejo, sister city of Baguio for 31 years, Daly City, sister city of Quezon City for 30 years, and of course, in Santa Clara County, Milpitas, sister city of Dagupan, Pangasinan for 22 years. It is not too late for a city here in Santa Clara County, aside from Milpitas, to establish ties with its very first Philippine sister city. This is a community-driven effort meant to address challenges in the community, as well as create opportunities that benefit the community. It is the community, not the consulate, that will choose the Philippine city that you wish to partner with. It is the community, not the consulate, that will set the agenda and create programs, activities, and projects that foster meaningful sister city cooperation. There are naysayers out there who will tell you that their quote-unquote brand of activism and critical way of thinking is the only legitimate way to help the Philippines, who will tell you that it's their way or the highway. In my opinion, these naysayers should give people who hold differing ideologies and perspectives the freedom to look for and choose multiple avenues to give back to their homeland, the Philippines. For me, that's how we should define being free, being malaya. I believe that there is a broad support within the Filipino American community for a sister city initiative in Santa Clara County. As we remember the past and celebrate the future, it is our responsibility as descendants of our great ancestors and heroes to pass on our culture, language, and values to the next generation of Filipino Americans. Let us inspire the young ones to embrace our ancestral roots, to be proud of our heritage, and to become leaders in their own right. And I have not yet heard that there's a Filipino American elected in the Board of Supervisors or even at the City Council, so why not in the near future, correct? Maybe not in November, but in the very near future. Moreover, let us continue to give back to our motherland, the Philippines, to secure a peaceful and prosperous future for our kababayans back home. To quote Philippine Ambassador to the United States, Jose Manuel Romualdez, who delivered the following remarks at the San Francisco City Hall, also for Filipino American History Month, 2 weeks ago, and I quote, "It doesn't matter what political color you have, whether it's green, blue, or yellow. Whatever color it is, you're still a Filipino by heart. And inside you, you know that you want our country to be safe and free and always stable," close quote. Thank you for your kind attention. Good day.
Thank you, Vice Consul Adrian Bakay.
Now, to continue us on, I'd like to welcome a member of the Fil-Am employees group who also happens to be my boss. Let's welcome District 3's Chief of Staff, Wendy Ho, to the stage.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Angela, and good evening, kababayan. I think we can do a little bit better, di ba? I know it's almost the end of the week, but let's try a little more energy, okay? Good evening. Good evening. Much better. it's my pleasure to be here this evening to provide a short introduction of my boss, Supervisor Otto Lee. But I want to take a point of personal privilege and just share with you how exciting it is to be here in community with you all this evening. This has been a long time coming for the Filipino American employee group here at the county, and so I'm just so heartened to see so many kababayan here tonight because we know that we are all family, that we have that bayanihan spirit, and so I'm just so glad to be in community with all of you tonight. A little bit about myself and kind of the journey I've been on with Supervisor Lee. I've been with his office now for almost 4 years in December, and I think I might be the first Pinay Chief of Staff, but certainly not the last. And so it's been my distinct honor to serve as his Chief of Staff. And just to share a Vice Consul, we actually do have a Filipina council member in the city of Mountain View who's running for re-election, Emily Ann Ramos. Emily Ann and myself and a couple of others, we can count the number of Filipino elected officials on our hands. I serve as a school board member for a local community college district, and we have actually in the city Milpitas, Vice Mayor Evelyn Chua, who is also Pinay. So we're a small number, but we are growing, and we can continue to grow our influence with all of your help and with allies like Supervisor Lee. Supervisor Lee, whom you may not know, he's only the third supervisor of Asian American and Pacific Islander descent in our county. The third. He is also the only immigrant who's ever served on the Board of Supervisors. So he understands the challenges that many of us face. And so that's why I'm so heartened to work for him, and I'm proud to show up to work every day to serve our community. And with that, I'll turn it over to Supervisor Lee.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I'm truly honored to be here. Mabuhay. Good evening. Yes. Salamat. My name is Otto Lee. I'm currently serving as the Vice President of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors. I represent District 3. For those of you who might not know, District 3 includes Sunnyvale, Milpitas, which of course is one of the largest Filipino American community in the entire South Bay here, and of course the North San Jose area, and Berryessa and Alviso as well. But of course we serve the entire county. When we say county of Santa Clara, a lot of people don't realize how big we are. We are the largest county in Northern California with 1.9 million people. Going from Palo Alto, the Milpitas, like a Y, go all the way down to Gilroy and Morgan Hill. So that's how large our county is, and that's truly an honor to serve as the third Asian descent American to be a supervisor. And I have some good news is that I believe we will have not only one, but probably two more supervisors coming up in January. That will be a real change for this county, being the only Asian on the board. Now I could share some of those duties with my fellow supervisors, and that's exactly what we need moving on in the future. And again, thank you so much to our Vice Counsel, Adrian Baquet, for your wonderful remarks and enlightenment of what really needs to uplift our community, having more Filipino Americans to serve in various public offices. So for those of you, besides being elected, I would say please apply for various commission. Those are appointed positions at the city level and also the county level. It's a great way to learn how the system works. And many times I started as a planning commissioner in Sunnyvale, and that's when I started city council and keep moving. So I would just say, please don't forget the fact that you can still serve in the commission and volunteer capacity in so many ways, or school board and whatnot. You know, it's really a big milestone for the county's Filipino employees group to host this first ever two-person event to celebrate the Filipino American History Month. It is also a time when we recognize and appreciate the history, the culture, and the contributions of our Filipino Americans, and mark the first recorded presence of Filipinos arriving in the mainland, the United States, on October 18th in Morro Bay, California. What year? Anybody remember? 1587. Not 1857. 1587. Way before the Declaration of Independence, all that, right? Now, the theme of this year's Filipino American History Month is struggle, resistance, solidarity, and resilience. Now, it highlights the ways that Filipino Americans have overcome the challenges and the systemic oppression throughout their histories. And for centuries, Filipino Americans have achieved remarkable success through hard work, through sacrifice, and through commitment to uplift and work alongside so many different communities. Many people knows about the hard work of, Chavez. Like everybody knows that's the work of the movement of labor in the great boycott, all that. What people somehow in the history of Thomas Cesar Chavez forget it is the Filipino American right there, actually, in Delano, that's actually doing most of that hard work, right? But somehow in history, they kind of get filtered or diluted, and I don't know why. And I think it's so important that we get our history books cleared up to make sure that these type of struggles and resistance is being reflected and honored. These collective history reflects an embracement of responsibilities and opportunities offered by our country while honoring the ancestral and cultural heritage. So today, Filipino American are the third largest Asian American group in the United States of America, and Santa Clara County is certainly very proud to be home of one of the largest Filipino American populations in California. And I'm especially and personally indebted to the Filipino community, not just because having our awesome chief of staff being a Filipina herself, of course I do, and trust me, every morning we speak, Monday through Saturday, for the last 4 years, and this is how hard she works. But also, many might not know, me and my sister, we were raised back in Hong Kong by 2 Filipinas in our life. And so I have had many, many good meals cooked by Filipinos. So my love of adobo, of pancit, is for the good reasons of growing up in Olympia. And it's just amazing to see how the hard work of that population, the Filipinos aunties that I talked about, just like what the Vice Consul say, they work very hard, they work very far away from the family themselves, come into, in this case, Hong Kong, and work really hard to send those monthly remittance back home to raise their brothers and sisters and help the families. And this is the type of spirit that we see so many Filipino that moves to around the world to do. And I just want to say a huge round of applause to all of them for what they do for the Filipino community. And I also want to mention, since we're only 12 days and wake up to this thing called the election coming up, everybody, this is the day we really need to remind people, not just to vote on that Tuesday, but check your mailbox, because I bet you that ballots are already there, or if not by your dinner table, you've shoved it away, you don't have time to deal with it yet. Well, guess what, guys? Please take the time to open the envelope, sit with your family, and take this very seriously. This election, when we say is the most important election in our lifetime, it really is. It really is. Having the wrong person elected to be president would make our struggle and resistance much harder. Yes, yes. And I don't want to continue to struggle, right? Yes. Salamat po. And I think it really is the power. Doesn't matter you're billionaire, you're millionaire, or ordinary citizen, every vote counts. And anybody who remember this year with a congressional race, we have 2 candidates who got the exact same number of votes on the first count. 31,500 votes. It's not a fluke. I mean, it sounds like a fluke, but it happened. So that's why every vote really counts. So don't ever thought that one envelope, that one check mark you make, that's what this country is built on since 1776 every time, right? Yes. So just get my public service announcement out, PSA, get to vote and all that. I'm actually traveling to 3 buses of folks going to Reno to get people to vote this weekend. So this is the type of work that we need to do to make sure everybody votes counts. Well, at this time, I would like to also read one of the whereases on our commendation and the proclamation. Whereas the Filipino American community has contributed its time, talent, and energy over many decades to strengthen the community in Santa Clara County by enriching its diverse culture, enhancing economic prosperity, improving the quality of life for residents, and now therefore be resolved that the Board of Supervisors of County of Santa Clara does hereby proclaim October 2024 as a Filipino American History Month in Santa Clara County to recognize over a century of Filipino immigration to America and honor the many contributions Filipino Americans have made to this community. And I have the proclamation right here. Yes, and I would like to also welcome all of the community organizations who are here today to share their missions and resources. Let's see how we do this, Angela. And so make sure I'm going through the program correctly. Yes. So, yes, good.
So because we're running late, so the original program says that each organization will have to, give a little bit about themselves. So what we're gonna do is we'll just have a photo op, and then you'll receive your certificates. Reserve whatever you're gonna talk about your organization towards the end, because we need to start the main content shortly. So what we can do is we'll just call all of the organizations one by one. You receive your certificate. We'll have photo op, and then that's it. You go down, and then later on, towards the end, we will have another section where each one would have a chance to talk about the organization. Is that okay with you guys? All right. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, let's call them up one by one.
All right. So the first organization, let's welcome Lead Filipino. Now let's welcome Filipino American Historical Society. Of Santa Clara County, Santa Clara Valley. And let's also include Filipino Youth Coalition San Jose, 2 in 1. All right, and then let's welcome Filipino Alumni Network of San Jose State University. All right, Malaya South Bay. All right, up next, the Larry It Leong Way Project. The Filipino American Community of Santa Clara County. The Filipino American Chamber of Commerce, Silicon Valley. Up next, the Milpitas Executive Lions Club. And there's actually one more surprise one. It's for the Santa Clara County Filipino American Employee Group.
From the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you so very much. Salamat po.
Please join us in welcoming our 3 panelists to the stage today.
May we request Sheila, Dr. Liza, and Gina to join us here on stage. Like I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, Ms. Gina Alcomendras won't be able to join us, but please go ahead. So the first one, Sheila Peralta is the,
She's the Senior Management Analyst of Shayla. I stand corrected. Shayla Peralta, she's the Senior Management Analyst of the County Executive's Office.
next one is Dr. Liza Danan. She's the co-founder and CEO of Liveritas Biosciences.
And let's welcome Gloria de la Merced. Gloria is the hospital executive at the St. Louis Regional Hospital. So we'll go ahead and call up Shayla, and you can speak right here to share a little bit about yourself.
Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I know everybody has a busy schedule, but truly grateful to have you here. And thank you for the opportunity to share my personal experience as a Filipino American woman. My journey of immigrating began when my mother petitioned for me to come to the U.S. when I was in elementary school, and as a result, I was fortunate to come over to the South Bay area when I was 10 years old. I have only lived in the South Bay ever since, and I am happy to be a South Bay local. Some of the challenges I faced when I was growing up in Santa Clara was being labeled as this term called a pub, which some of you might know as it means fresh off the boat, and feeling like I was not quite accepted as an American despite being a citizen since I was not born here. So I was a naturalized citizen as opposed to the quote-unquote, to some people's view, true citizen who would be like an American-born citizen. And I was not accepted by most of the Filipino American students at school since I was not an American-born Filipino like them, and I had an accent. I also went back and forth a lot between the Philippines and the US while I was growing up, which meant that I studied 1st to 3rd grade in the Philippines, and then I went here for 4th through the first half of 6th grade in the US, and then I was sent back to the Philippines to complete the second half of 6th grade there. And then I skipped 7th and 8th grade because at the time there's no 7th and 8th grade in the Philippines. And then I attended 1st and 2nd year of high school in the Philippines at Quezon City Science High School. And then I moved back to the US for the 3rd and 4th years of high school, which basically caused a lot of issues in general, since all of that back and forth caused issues with fitting in and finding a group that I felt I was part of. In addition, right after I graduated from high school when I was 16, I ended up in the foster care system due to many years of physical, mental, and emotional abuse from my mother since I immigrated to the US, which unfortunately ended up in her strangling me and trying to stab me in 2002. The combination of my near-death experience, rough childhood as an immigrant, being in the foster care system for a few years as a Filipino American young adult without any history of truancy and substance abuse issues and not belonging to gangs and not just the typical, stereotypical what they see for youth in the foster care system. And also starting college while I was still residing in the county children's shelter as a 16-year-old made me very much a minority within the system and among my peers. My collective experiences led me to pursue a bachelor's degree in social work from San Jose State University. And started our career within the nonprofit sector, which coincidentally I did end up being an independent living program case manager to work with juvenile youth and those youth in the foster care system. And then I transitioned into county government work. I quickly realized that a lot of the issues related to service delivery and the effectiveness of programs were tied to policy-related matters. And as a result, I pursued a degree in management at the University of Phoenix while also working full-time for the county. And I eventually pursued the management analyst career track to hone my skills in public administration, contracts, and legislation. 14 years later, after working for the District Attorney's Office, Planning and Development, Social Services Agency, Behavioral Health Services Department, I continue to be grateful to have the opportunity to work alongside my colleagues here at the county, and I am so happy to have been working for the last 3 months at the County Executive Office's Division of Equity and Social Justice for the Office of Immigrant Relations. Shout out to my supervisor, and also shout out to the Labor Justice Team, which is one of our divisions. And for the past 3 months. One of the highlights was when I was working for SSA, because I had the opportunity to look for my former social worker and also the other county staff who helped support me while I was in the system and provided me with assistance and guidance throughout my experience there. And I was very grateful for the opportunity to be reunited with them and just express my gratitude for all their help and to let them know that despite the circumstances, it's no secret that it's a difficult journey to go through the system. I survived and I was doing, relatively well. And I was happy to have the opportunity to work side along them to try to make positive changes in the community and improve public services. I am so honored to be part of all of the efforts to make positive changes and improvements to my local community in which I work and reside in. Thank you very much.
At this time, let me call the next speaker, Dr. Liza Danan.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize for my voice. I have a cold. Thank you so much for this invitation, Arnold, and thank you for the organization. It's very heartwarming to meet you all and see how organized you all are here. How I wish we have it in San Mateo County too. So I'm from, I've been a resident of David City, South San Francisco, and now Pacifica. And how I wish we have this. So I'm Liza Marie A. Danan. I was born and raised in the Philippines, mostly by my grandma until she passed away when I was 11 years old. My parents are both professionals and they became real parents when I was 12 when my grandma passed. And both of my parents grew up in poverty. They rose to upper middle class because of their education, their hard work, and they aligned to have big dreams for their children, to have the best educations possible in the Philippines that they didn't receive. I was the eldest. I'm the eldest of 3 children. I have a sister and my brother. We're all in 3 different time zones right now. And so following the footsteps of our parents, all 3 of us children were raised to excel in academics. We were all encouraged to become really good in math, science, and English, where, these were the top 3 classes that we had to ace every year. And we would receive academic gold medals and perfect scores. And as a reward, my parents would give us toys and cash gifts. So sometimes even my parents would owe us money. And so just sharing this with you because I'm so proud that when my sister and I became back-to-back valedictorians when we were 12 years old in our grade school, and that's unheard of. So the 3 of us are young overachievers, and we thrive, and primarily because of our family, of our supportive parents, of our extended family, our relatives, our neighbors. We lived in a small gated community where the support is so strong. Up to now, they became like extended family, and we're now connected through social media, through Facebook. Another thing was going to church every Sunday was huge for our family. My parents were volunteers in church, and so at the young, and in particular, they became community organizers, helping marginalized families in our parish. And so at the early age of 6, my siblings and I started volunteering as choir members and servers in church, and we would interact with the greater community outside of our gated community, where the impoverished are everywhere in the deep. So in high school and college, I received scholarships at the top Science High School, Manila Science High School, and went to receive a college scholarship from Ateneo de Manila University Honors Program in Chemistry and Computer Engineering. My mentors and professors encouraged us all graduates to continue pursuing excellence in science in service of others. And so my best friends and I all went to graduate school. There were 5 of us. My friends went to Princeton University, UNC Chapel Hill, Ohio University, and University of Saarbrücken, Germany. I went to UC Davis. I'm an Aggie. And so in 2004, I left Metro Manila. And I had $1,000 in cash to pay for my living expenses for my first month. And then I received that fellowship for a shot at a PhD in biological chemistry at UC Davis. And so I thought, it was relatively easy, like to continue thriving in life, right? Like, it's just a change of country. That's what I thought. I completely underestimated what it meant to be an immigrant. So for 20 years ago, I experienced systemic racism. Doesn't matter where you are, even in, when you're in a PhD program, you'll feel it. My culture shock, my personal culture shock, was being cream of the crop in the Philippines to becoming second-class citizen, a double minority in the United States. In reality, I am a Filipino woman. I'm a woman, and I am Filipino. Just like the working years of my parents, I switched from thriving to survival mode. And in the first 10 years of building my career in the drug development industry, I had to work 60 hours, 80 hours per week, and really show what I can do. As an overachiever, I really invested a lot of time and effort to show that I can generate this great data. As a scientist, as a really good scientist, since I was high school, I protected my integrity and the quality of my work. So my bosses loved me, but then my peers hated me. They would say, stop overachieving, Liza. You're making us all look bad. I received that comment multiple times. At the same time, another struggle was, similar to what Shayla experienced. I was made fun of because of my Filipino accent. I came here when I was 24 years old. It's irritating too when I'm not given enough time and space to complete my sentence, and people just feel like they can easily cut me in the middle of my sentence. That's not acceptable, that is disrespectful. I was also skipped for promotions because another person who is less productive, who's not Filipino, they think they deserve to be promoted first. And I was also stripped of leadership roles. I felt disrespected. And my ideas were taken from me. Like, it felt like my brain was raped. These are all not fun stories to share, and it makes me emotional when talking about it. It's the first time I talk about it in public. Another challenge is when we left the Philippines. When I left the Philippines, I left all of my communities that supported my thriving in school. There was minimal to no support here. I didn't have family. My parents were in the Philippines. No extended relatives, no parish, no friendly neighbors, and no college and high school friends. I had minimal support at UC Davis and in the biopharma companies I worked for. And so while I was in survival mode, I learned to be independent. So independent that when I was going through my biggest challenge in my life, I was getting diagnosed with cancer. I went to surgery twice by myself. No one to hold my hand but the Filipino nurses at Kaiser. Luckily, my parents were retired, and so they helped me through people. For my career, let me switch it to positive. I learned to answer to the call of the universe. To accelerate my career progress here in the US, I followed where respect and was offered to me. I followed companies and bosses who knew my worth and what I was offering the company. It brought me to where I am right now. So focusing on following the positive signals and the call of the universe. When a job offer is presented to you on the silver platter, even when it's not the most ideal case scenario at the moment, say yes to it. I was able to work for multinational companies like the likes of Eurofins. It's like a $9 billion global company. And then I was promoted to group leader, was transferred from Pennsylvania to work inside Genentech and start my team inside Genentech. Genentech was our primary client. And that accelerated my career because from there, Sutro Biopharma and StemCentrics recruited me and gave me my new jobs. These two companies are unicorns. They're unicorn biotech companies, biotech startups. One is a public company right now, traded at NASDAQ, and the other one was acquired for $6 billion by a larger biopharma company. I was the very first head of mass spectrometry in drug development. And first Filipino, first woman, first ever. Whenever I went to conference in the past, they would ask, how did you get that title? It was given to me when I was recruited for this job. So that was back in 2007 until 2017 when I experienced that gift from the universe. And after all those frustrations of, not getting rightfully the title and the promotions you deserve, I started building companies. So now I'm on my second startup, and hopefully tomorrow we win the pitch competition at the Dream Bigger Challenge in Plug and Play. So I want to share this story. It's a mix of good things and bad things, but at the end of the day, it's all up to us on how we get back ourselves into thriving mode instead of survival mode. Thank you.
What an amazing story. Thank you, Dr. Liza. And you mentioned about nurses. Shout out to our Filipino nurses. And speaking of nurses, our next and last, but not the least, speaker is a nurse herself. Gloria de la Merced, who's the hospital executive, which is the equivalent of a chief operation officer, COO, but they call it hospital executive at the St. Louis Regional Hospital. Gloria?
Thank you, Arnold.
Oh my gosh, that was very, very sad listening to both of you. And Arnold giving me the third spot, that's not fair. It was not very emotional. But I'll cry later. I really appreciate both of your stories and really, being vulnerable to share. Because I think that's really important for us. Filipinos rock, right? No matter what adversities, we continue to get up and stand up and continue to keep going, right? I am the prize, so thank you both for sharing. I did prepare a little bit of PowerPoint because I wasn't sure. And actually, I want to tell a little bit of story how I ended up to be a speaker. So I was in the Philippines about 3 weeks ago, And then Mr. Arnold called me and said, hey, Gloria, and I was in Boracay Beach trying to unwind, right? So stressed working in the hospital. And he called me in the very, very good time, I think, for him, but not for me. But anyway, he says, hey, Gloria, do you want to be a speaker or can you be a speaker? And I said, sure. And I thought that was just like a, very minor, like small room event. And then when I got there, he says, okay, so you'll be panel number 4, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what? So anyway, but, for the sake of the Filipino community, I really appreciate all of the support that I get, no matter how much you know me on a personal level or not. On a professional level, I am very, very grateful of the, profound help and gratitude from all of you. And I see some of the faces here that I invited towards the end because Arnold said, keep pushing the invitation out, keep pushing the invitation. And Arnold, they're here. Look at them. Shout out to them. Perfect. So I'll start a little bit about my journey. I didn't go way back to the elementary school, but I can share a little bit about my journey. I was born in Basilan. Do you guys know where Basilan is? Yes, where the Busaya. I know, we're known for that, right? So, but born in Basilan, that's the island province of the Philippines. We're the south, like really southern part. It's very small. You could almost miss it, but it's born, in Basilan and raised in Basilan till high school. Then our family migrated to Zamboanga City. You know where Zamboanga City is? Yes. Zamboanga City, which is the Asian Latin city of the Philippines. Very, very, and the Zamboanga Hermosa. I don't know if you remember that. But anyway, so going back to Basilan, that was quite an experience. And I used to walk like 7 kilometers every day in the morning and back in the afternoon because we don't have a transportation. So it's called a Cadillac. Remember that? That's why I blame my height because I kept walking, very busy walking, so I didn't really grow tall. So that's why I'm sure. But that's okay. And I born in a family of 6, and I'm the second child. And I was inspired by my family members to become a nurse. I used to have an aunt in the 19s. She came to the U.S. in 1960. So, and then she would send balikbayan boxes every time. I said, oh my gosh, she must be rich. I want to be like her. So that was quite my early motivation to become a nurse, because nurses, they're rich. They can send balikbayan boxes to the Philippines. So that was quite inspiring. And I went to school in the Philippines and received my bachelor's degree in nursing and my first master's degree, master's in nursing, major in medical surgical, and from the Western Mindanao State University, which is the only university, we have the second now, Ateneo University, but Western Mindanao State University in Zamboanga City, before I moved to the United States. In 1988, I moved to Texas and worked with the world-renowned neurosurgeons in the Harris County Hospital District. I don't know if you know where Bentop Hospital is in Houston. It's about 500-bed trauma hospital. So I started working there as a neurosurgical ICU nurse. That was quite an experience because at the age of 23, when I came, and my first time ever to be away from my family, I was so sheltered with my parents. And when I came, a big, just like I can relate to Shaila and Dr. Liza about the language barrier, that was a big major problem for me. I couldn't understand it. And so, what do you mean by piti-piti? It's 50-50, right? Pardon me, sir, sir, and I said, I'm sorry, doctor, because, we're very respectful. And I said, piti-piti, okay. And then it says, 50-50, like 50% normal setting and things like that. So anyway, so that was quite interesting because I was very shy and I felt kind of like I said, maybe I just go back to the Philippines. They wouldn't understand me, and but then the community of Filipinos said, no, it's okay. We started like that. Just keep on going. So anyway, I was crying a lot. I spent so much money in long distance calls. Because remember that time? 50 cents per minute. So my paycheck, half of that goes to long distance calls to my family. Yeah, that was quite an experience. But that was also a very good foundation for me as a critical care nurse, working the neurosurgical ICU with the Baylor College of Medicine, surgeons that came to Bentham Hospital, and was really great learning. But I had to really understand and really open my ears to make sure I understand what orders they're barking out, right? So, and then after Bentham Hospital, I went on to work in a cardiothoracic unit, which is open heart surgeries, balloon pumps, and all that. That was quite an experience as well. I worked in Brownsville, Texas, which is the tip of Texas. I don't know if you know where that is. You should know. It was what's the name of the Tesla guy? Elon Musk has like a auto center. Yes. So I worked in Brownsville, Texas, and then in 2000 I moved to California and began my journey at St. Louis Regional Hospital, working in the ICU unit as a per-diem nurse. At the same time, nurses, double jobs, normal, right? Sometimes 3 jobs. So anyway, 2 jobs. So I also work at Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital, but I love St. Louis. So I've been working at St. Louis since 2000, and this is my 24th year. And I'm very, very happy. So it was really indeed a great foundation, because I think it's the love of nursing and the love of taking care of people that's always deep-rooted on me as an ICU nurse. And so I have held several positions. As a frontline, I have been a nurse since 1985. So frontline is indeed my love. And then I went to clinical teaching, as well as became holding on some supervisory jobs, director of ICU, surgery, house supervision, and progressive care unit, and all that. In 2019, I was given the opportunity to be the nurse executive for St. Louis, and 9 months later, I think if you keep doing a good job and not complaining, they keep promoting you. Be careful when you do that. That's how I say it, right? Making it a positive note. So 9 months later, I was promoted to be the Chief Operating Officer for St. Louis. And since then, I'm still there. And so many adversities, so many things that happen. But and I know that becoming the first Filipina to be in the executive role is really very humbling. And again, I know you guys, with all your great support, it's really humbling, and I feel so honored, and I continue to feel that way. And I'm very happy that because of the acquisition, the County of Santa Clara, the Board of Supervisors, including Otto Lee, and all of them, they acquired St. Louis, because otherwise we're in the verge of closing. Can you imagine the South County without an acute care, without an emergency room, without an operating room? So, really shout out to the County of Santa Clara Board of Supervisors for really believing that access to care is very, very important. So that's why we're here. Okay, look at my picture with the nurse cap. I have a very funny story about that. At that time, it wasn't funny. On my first day of orientation, when I migrated to Houston, they said, okay, first of orientation, come with your nursing uniform, and nurses in the Philippines, how do we dress up? We dress up with a white skirt and all, and then we even put like the white stuff on our shoes, the jogos. Do you remember that? So you remember that? So that's how traditional we were. So I was very excited, very happy. I put on my nursing cap like in a container, right? So I pick it up, put it with the clip and all that. Then here we go. There's 7 of us walking into the nurse's station, and everybody was looking at us like, "Who are you?" And then, "Oh, we're the nurses from the Philippines." Or I said, "Yeah, is Nightingale here?" And then, so, well, why are they looking at us weird? That's when I found out that the nurses in the United States, they don't wear that anymore. They were wearing scrubs, right? So, but at that time, we felt so proud, and because we have our nursing cups, and they said, "What's going on here?" Like they were really, they look at us like we're weirdos. So the next day, so we had to go to Target and buy a pair of scrubs. That's one of my fun facts I will never forget. And of course, food and way of life is always, my favorite food is bukoy. And at that time, so living back, my family was really very, very difficult for me. As I told you, I spent so much money. Half my patient goes to long distance calls. And then the language and the culture shock, because it was in Texas. And it was very difficult because, like the weather at the time, we came during fall September, it was getting cold. So I'm not used to cold. And so we were like all hoodie and all that. And they said, "What are you guys doing?" And then with the earmuff and all that, like all the paraphernalias. So again, people, they're looking at us weird. What's wrong with you guys? So, we just came and Filipinos were cold. But the Filipino community then, they were very grateful. You know how we are? Even if you don't know them, as a Filipino ka, yes. "Hi, kumusta po, kuya, kumusta po, tita," like we do that, like very warming, and they embraced us, new group of nurses, they embraced us really well. They gave us their, scarves, jackets, and all that. So that was, I'm very grateful for the Filipino community. Wherever we are, wherever we go, as long as we know there's Filipino in need, we are there to help. Like, Bayan Mihan, right? Anyway, so next slide. Okay, so some of the defining moments, I could not read it. Anyway, so I was recruited to work in the USA due to the nursing shortage in the 1980s. If you remember then, they were giving H-1 visa, right? And luckily, at that time, it was President George Bush allows the dependent to come along. So my husband is very lucky, my boyfriend then, he was very lucky that when we got married, he was able to come with me like a few months right away, and he's over there with my daughter. So, and I appreciate them for coming here to support me. And as I said, jeez, I know. Stay true to my cultural beliefs and values, because I know it's very important for us to continue to be ourselves, Filipinos, and as I said again, the values that the family taught us at home, it's very important for us to continue to bring wherever we are, wherever we go. It's very important for us because I know it builds our character, and I really, really appreciate that. And that's my family. My dad, I have very sad stories about my dad. In 2021, New Year, January 1st, my dad passed away during COVID time. And that was very difficult. One of the hardest things that happened in my life, because I wasn't able to go back and be with my family to grieve. At that time, that's when the Nino Aquino International Airport closed. I was getting ready to go, but it was very difficult. Watching a virtual funeral is a very traumatic experience. So, but I want to share that my dad had been a rock for the family. So, it's my dad and my mom and my there's 6 of us, half a dozen, and I'm the second. And next. think this is my final slide. And I hope that my work inspires others. And I want to share that I have been supported and inspired by those around me and those who helped me where I am today. And that my immediate family and you guys being part of the county. And the picture on the left lower is my family. I want to share a very beautiful, wonderful moment for us. I have 4 children, 3 my own and 1 adopted. And there's 2 girls and 2 boys. My baby boy, 24 years old, he got married in June. And he's a baby. This is the first time to get married. The 2 older girls, they're taking their time. But anyway, but my baby, he didn't wait. He says, well, Mama, you said you don't care. As soon as I graduate, I can get married. So be careful, guys. Next time when you say that to your kids, give them a timeline. Because that was my fault. I didn't give him a timeline. He graduated in May. He proposed in June. He got married 3 months later. So anyway, but they're very happily married, and I'm very happy. I'm going to be a grandma in April. So very excited. They're all very excited. And my work family on the right corner, and I really appreciate because they're the movers and the shakers, the frontliners. They're the ones, and I really shout out to them for all the hard work that they do every day, because it is them who touch the patients every day, and they make the difference. So with that, thank you very much. And
Wow, those stories, very inspiring, very amazing. So thank you for sharing. By the way, before I forget, special acknowledgement to a few nonprofit organizations here. I see Lisel Mendoza, who is the founder of the Mentoring Club. She's also one of those trailblazers. And Miss Eleanor Fernandez of the Manila Heritage. So she's supporting the Filipino community. Thank you for coming.